Good morning. It's time to start the webinar. Once again, welcome everyone to the webinar Lean 360. I'm Tony Jacob, Director, Construct Management Solutions. We help organizations to implement management concepts and people to practice lean concepts in their projects. We conduct corporate training programs and project-specific hand-holding engagement sessions on lean construction, project management, and various other management concepts. I'm also an authorized AGC instructor to conduct lean construction education program. Please feel free to reach out to me for resolving any of your projects, performance, productivity, or profitability challenges. We are in the 6th year of facilitating and training programs for the construction industry. Rethink construction, revamp project management, and redefine project delivery. That's the key thing which we do. Our knowledge, experience, and approaches are shared with the industry through several webinars, articles, and presentations. Please visit the Insight page to explore more about whatever we are sharing with the industry. This webinar is more of a strategic in nature. So if anyone looking for very minor details or specific to some individual tools which are belongs to the Lean fraternity, then please feel free to go to our website and refresh yourself by visiting the Insight page. You will find a lot of webinar recordings, presentations, and article in this particular Insight page. So feel free to have a look at and then go through that. Also, you can reach out to me through email or the social media details given here. We will have a Q&A session towards the end of this webinar, and we'll answer all your queries. If suppose I couldn't answer any of your queries today, I'm providing another link for you to submit your feedback and queries. We will get back to you with more clarity and more information, whatever you require to practice lean concepts in your projects. So once again, welcome to this webinar, and I hope this webinar will help you to understand more about the lean concepts and how it can be practiced in the project and the strategy and the model which you need to follow in the project to get these things implemented for a benefit for individuals, organizations, and the projects which we are working. Let me start with the purpose and benefit of lean concepts. The purpose and benefits, unless until we realize the purpose and benefit, we will not be in a position to do justice to whatever we are implementing, whatever we are trying to practice. You know, nothing wrong in expecting project to be completed with a low cost, with the time factor and a quality product, because you know we are investing our money and our effort into that. But the problem with the projects what we are doing today, the time we start talking about the completion of a project, the quality, then coming to the timeline. Once we start the project, we face a lot of challenges and disturbance. Now, you could see that mid of a project or towards end of a project, a lot of disaster in terms of managing project. This is mainly due to the lack of right methodology to bring people, process, and technology together. So the lean construction processes are meant to take a lead to ensure that collaboration and bringing value for everyone. The dream for better projects in less time at lower cost, starting realized when we start practicing the lean tools and practices. And also you could see that there's a lot of friction between the productivity and the performance in a project. The people trying to get a maximum productivity, then you will see that there's a kind of a performance issues in a project. So there's always a struggle. Someone want to be bringing less number of resources to be ensure that they're profitable and their productivity is in control. But whereas someone else in the project wants to be deployed more resources by you, and that will have a hindrance to your profitability and productivity understanding. So what lean brings is a relief of this productivity and profitability performance struggle, whereas it brings a collaborative platform where all the parties can come together, have a common understanding about what needs to be done in a more efficient and effective way. Also, you are very familiar to seeing, you look at your just completed project, how much effort you put towards the end of a project. It is a kind of a nightmare for many of us. So what we really see in a construction project is in the starting of a project, you will see a lot of lack in getting clearances. There are pending approvals and delay in completing the previous work. And ultimately, there is a kind of a productivity worry, as I've mentioned earlier. Then all of a sudden, you have to bring your your all resources because you get a clearance for all the pending approvals and all the designs are available now. That leads us to the firefighting situation. So the lean whereas helping us to see that how we can work in a proactive way of creating a work environment where the constraints are identified, analyzed, and make ready things are happening much early in a project so that we can minimize or can avoid the firefighting situation, which is very common in the construction industry today. Coming to another problem which we are seeing in the industry today, the people keep on giving promises, but they never fulfill. We have a schedules which is not matching to today's reality. Now, the lean through its tools and processes and bringing people, again, I use the word collaboration, bringing the people together. It ensures that the commitment what the people are making in a project, the promises are become more reliable because whatever required to do the work or start the work is been arranged by everyone else so that the reliability of promises in our meeting rooms are going up with the implementation of lean. And ultimately that it shows that whatever the schedule what we prepare, it's more predictable in nature and people have more reliable promises which are happening in the construction project. And last but not the least, as you know today, there is a project delivery system. What we have is a kind of a broken. When I'm saying a broken, it is not interconnected. We want to achieve a design excellence, but the people are struggling for getting the details of specification and approval. We want to be a very cost effective, but the packages which we approved or the material which we are approving with a lesser cost is creating a quality problem or delay, which ultimately affecting the execution people. And the execution is also challenging the decisions which are taken in the concept level and the design level or by the procurement because it may not be constructible or it may be not giving the proper quality or it is creating a kind of an execution problems at the time of when we are the works are happening in a construction site. So the lean establishing a efficient project delivery system from concept to execution, it can be streamlined in such a way that all the stakeholders in the projects are finding it easy and having more synchronized to have a common vision in the project and get it done. So you may be wondering when we are talking about so many advantages of a lean and the benefits of a lean, why the lean is not adopted by everyone or every organization. And this is something, which is related, and I can say the answer in a very, very simple way, saying that not all the people are aware of it or simply they got confused between what need to be done in a project. The people try to spend a lot of time in the theoretical aspect, but the lean is more practical. Unless until you start practicing and you start believing and you start making these lean concepts to known to everyone in the organization and the project, it is not going to be a full-fledged and beneficial implementation for you. It is going to be another implementation which you are trying to do, whereas, okay, the implementation is done, the checklist is done, the auditing is happening, but the result is not happening. So the lean will be different when we put everyone responsible, put everyone coming together, who need to be implemented the lean construction. There is no separate department or individual need to drive it. The lean need to be driven by the entire organization, the entire project, all the people, those who are working in the project. That's when we can see that the client consultant and general contractors are taking the lead and working together to ensure that the lean concepts are clearly practiced in a project. Now, what is required for it? When we talk about lean, something we always jump into and trying to see that what are the tools, how it can be done, how the tools are practiced. And then some people will come back and say that, hey, I know this, I practiced this, but it didn't work. Some other people will say that, oh, this is something similar to what I'm already working. Okay, slightly different, looks good, let me try. Now, what people don't realize and don't spend much time, that's what I want to tell you at this moment quickly is the importance of getting into a two main aspect of lean. To have a lean mindset, and you need to start thinking, a lean thinking need to be brought out to the people's mind. If not, it become another methodology which you trying to teach people, and there will be a resistance from the people, and the people at the ground level talk in a different direction, and ultimately nothing is going to happen in a project. So let's try to spend time on understanding lean mindset and lean thinking. But I'm not going to take too much time because I've done a separate webinar on this exclusively for lean thinking. And those are interested to deeply understand what is lean thinking and lean mindset, I request you to go to the insight page of Construsk website, and you will find the recording of that particular webinar for your detailed reference. But let me quickly cover what it is the lean thinking and what is the lean mindset. The lean thinking, it is making you to have a deeper understanding about the project and the people and what is their expectation and how it can be done. So it starts with the understanding of value. We always try to please our client and try to please whoever we are reporting to, and see that whatever they want, we are trying to get it delivered. But the point what we need to remember when you are working in a project is, first and most, we need to explore and we need to understand is what is the value which we are looking and seeking and trying to deliver in this project in terms of end customer. Now, when I'm saying an end customer, it doesn't mean that the client which you are appointed by the client may not be knowing what exactly the value which an end customer is looking for. The clear example is your changes in the design, or once you hand over the project, the further changes or further alteration which you are going to do in a project are the simple example that even sometimes the client doesn't understand what the end customer required. Now, the understanding which the end customer required, it can be a smooth and safe drive. That is an end customer. Those are going to use the highways or a road work which you are going to complete. Or for an office user, it can be a pleasant and clean air that may be, adding value for him. Now, if the air is giving the virus, or if the air is not pleasant, in a cold climate situation, if it is not hot enough, then the end customer is not getting whatever you have done. It's not adding value for him. So you will end up doing the revision of the drawing. Have you seen any bridges are giving more comfort because it is designed to times or 3 times, or the revisions are happen 8 times or 10 times? No. Have you seen the pleasantness or the cleanness of the air is going to high increase when the duct of the air duct is changed because the electrical conduit have to come in that way? No, the rework or any additional work which you are doing, it is not going to increase the value to the end customer. But what exactly they required is more important, need to understand in the starting of a project. Now, this value, it's not something you are just delivering instantly. It need to be done from the conceptualization, the client to the end customer, the interaction, the facility management, the people those are involved, the government, the legal, the consultant. So they are evolving this and understanding, creating a specification for it. Someone is going to have a supply chain arrangement. Someone is going to have installation. Someone is going to have a testing. All these are part of it. So it's not only the clean and fresh air is possible unless until we have a series of other value adding activities which we are performing. So it is very important for us to have and think about what are the value stream, how you are ensuring this value is being given to that particular end customer. So you have to have defined in between, there is for example, the designer and the procurement person, the supply chain. Now, these two people also to see that they have to see each other as a value and adding or value enhancing component in this value stream. So we always need to look at and ensuring that there is a smooth flow of information, material, or a work need to happen through this value stream. If that is not happening, then what will happen? Either the area will get flooded because if the too much of information is coming, or too much of material, or too much of work is happening, or if things are not moving, then it will get deserted kind of in a situation. So both are not good. What we need to ensure is we need to have a flow, a consistent flow. We are not saying a fast. It can be slow also, but it should have a consistent and a smooth flow need to happen, so that there is nothing stopping the work in between. Because any work is stopping, that will lead us to some activities which is not going to get a value add for the client, the end customer. Now, how to ensure that only the right quantum of work is to be happen, or right quantum of information and material or work need to be moved from one of the value stream point to the another? This is where the pull concept is coming. So instead of today, what we are doing is a push. When the designer is completed his work, he's not interested or not in a position to look at when exactly the drawing information required for the execution people or for procurement or for a client. Whereas they directly working on, because they're also getting challenges of getting input from the client and the people or site input. So the people, they look at the information as and when they have the information, they assume that this is what the next in line customer required. So they prepare it and then throw it. Sometimes we call it you throw over the wall. The design create, then throw over the wall. The site taking input and then throw over the wall to the other people. So what is happening is when the value stream is not defined and the flow is not understand, the people try to push the information and push the detail as and when they have it, whenever they feel it right, but that may not be the right time for the people who really does the job at that moment. So this can create a challenge in the situation. So the pull will ensure that the flow is smoothly happening between the value stream or through the cutting across the value stream, and ultimately the value is delivered to the end customer. Now, this process can be continuously improved. So a quest for perfection is the fifth element which required to be in the mind of a people, or that should be part of your tools and processes and everything. Now, all this quest of perfection and all the other elements which I mentioned, the lean thinking, can be performed by a person unless until he have a lean mindset, he is not in a position to do it. So the lean mindset, whereas it is talking about a continuous improvement you are bringing to the system. And how do you bring the continuous improvement in the system? You need to first challenge what is the current practices, how it has been happening. Unless until you go and see where the work is really happening, you cannot resolve all the problems by sitting in your place, or even you are on the side, you are thinking only as an electrical contractor, you are thinking only as a backfilling contractor. Then your mind is kind of a closed, you are not understanding what is happening in the other side for the other person. So you have to put yourself in the shoe of the other person. The meaning of go and sit doesn't mean you just only go to the site and then stand there and still you are thinking like an execution guy who is looking benefit, or him not thinking in the point of view of the end customer or in the client or in the designer. It is not going to help you. And more important here, another 2 points I want to add is the respect the individual. Every two hands you hired for supporting your project to your work, or someone else is hired for your project, that's not only to give the physical work, there's a free brain comes with it. So respect the individual, respect their views, their experience. It is quite fun. You are hiring a person who's having experience and exposure, and then you are directing and dictating him to do what need to be done in a project. So we need to work as a team, and the teamwork comes with a collaboration, and these are very important for you to have. Now, let me take you quickly to the one important aspect of a lean implementation, which you need to keep it in your mind when you're trying to implement a lean construction tools in the project, is ensure that the flow is smoothly happening in your project. Now, why I'm giving importance for the flow? The flow, as I mentioned earlier, you just think in this way: you have 20 trades, and you look at how speed or how fast your project is happening. Your speed of the project is directly proportional to the slowest person in the system. Now, if someone is not ensuring the smooth flow of work is not happening, it will get stuck somewhere. So the flow is something which is directly getting affected with three elements, as I've mentioned here: the waste, the variation, and the overburden. I won't again take much time explaining each one of it. You can go to the Insight page and you will find a lot of input there related to the 7+1 waste and the various aspects of this kind of problems which you are facing. But quickly covering, now you imagine if the value stream is not taken care, the work which is created, it doesn't satisfy the need of the end customer, which is identified by someone. So you end up reworking, or you are doing an over processing. You are working on a procurement, you have to finalize a contract, but you are still looking at the cost and you're trying to negotiate, renegotiate. You're taking 2 or 3 weeks extra or additional time rather than whatever we agreed earlier. Now what will happen is there's a kind of waiting which is happening in the project. So any waste which are incurring in the system, that will delay the flow of information or a material or a work to the next value stream, next person in the value stream. And that means that area is getting deserted. Then what will happen is there's a kind of fluctuation which will be coming in terms of performance of the person, performance of the work, the promised date delivery. So this variation, the fluctuation in the performance or the delivery, what we are talking, this variation is severely affected. Now again, relate to the example which I've mentioned earlier. In the starting of a project, many will complain about doesn't have the drawing. Now what will happen when there is a no drawing? The lot of people we mobilized have to be gone back, because we cannot convince our subcontractor. Now the people are not available, drawings are not available. Then what will happen? The next day when the drawing comes, again the people are not available. So the fluctuation in delivery, whether it is an information, whether it's a material, so if it is not consistent, if it is not reliable, then it will have a direct effect on the system. Now ultimately all these things will have a further impact on the system when everything is available. Look at the end of a project, or towards the mid or closure of a project. The drawing is available, the material is available, the manpower is available, the work front is available, but nothing is sufficient, because you have to do a double or triple the work what we have really planned. So we are overburdening the system. Now this overburdening the system, the people will collapse and the equipment will break down. That will have another waste which will happen, and ultimately, it will have a, unless until we come out of this waste variation and overburden, this flow we cannot control very effectively. One more point when we are talking about the flow, this I'm taking a reference of the book called This is Lean, and there is an efficiency metrics which is mentioned in this particular book. Now you could see that the waistline, what you have mentioned here, is the resource efficiency and the flow efficiency is very low if it is in the system which is called as a waistline. Now, most of the organization and people realize that work is not happening, the people are sitting idle. So that's a kind of in a situation. But what is the easiest thing people does when any work is not happening? You're working in a vertical building and you have to complete the shell and core. You don't have the information which is coming to you, or a clarity in the drawing, or the structural drawing is hold or anything. What you try to do is trying to create an efficiency by redeploying these people to somewhere else. And this is what we does. We've seen that even for a designers, the information or approval is not coming from the client. What we does, we move the people from the current project to some other project. They'll be working on another project. What we are trying to do is we are trying to achieve always the efficiency. Now there are situations in a project you could see that the tomorrow's drawing is not available, whereas the drawings are available for the second month or a third month, because the people are trying to achieve the efficiency by creating. The efficiency can be brought into paper saying that productivity and everything is high when you try to do that. But what will happen is we are going to end up in a kind of efficient island. This is very clearly visible in a construction project. We are seeing that our design is an excellent. They created a 98% of the drawing. Our procurement is excellent because they finalized every project, every contractor, every material under the budget. But now you look at when it is coming for an execution, they are not able to move forward. So you are in an island of design excellency, you are in an island of procurement excellency, but your work is not moving. So your efficiency in terms of or final goal of achieving the perfect state, the lean state, is not going to happen. So what we need to do here is, even you go slow, nothing wrong as I've mentioned earlier, but go steady. So you ensure that the value stream is defined in your organization and clearly understand by everyone. Each stakeholders are talking to each other and having a common understanding, saying that what work need to be received by them, the pull is need to be established, so that a smooth flow of information will be happening. So instead of you initially getting into the efficient island, look into an efficient ocean where things are happening in a smoother way. From there, you directly reach out. Now, if everything is happening smoothly, you really can increase the pace of the work and the speed of the work and the efficiency of the people, because there is not going to be any kind of a overburden or any kind of a waste or any kind of a variation in the work which is happening. So everyone working together. So you are first, what you're doing by ensuring a smooth flow in the system is you are ensuring that all the link in the chains are strong and equally soldered. So what will happen if any link, which is a weak link in the system, in the chain, there is a tendency that may get broken. Now we are preventing that by ensuring. So the flow is very important aspect in implementing lean concept. Now I can tell you in a another different perspective how we look at in a project today. All are interested to complete the project in a faster, in a better, and in a cheaper. So I said I won't blame those who are thinking in that angle. But what the reality? When you start a project, this is what we want. We set a timeline saying that okay, 24 months for completing the project, 6 months for design, 3 months for procurement, and the rest of the time is for execution. Then we talk about okay, we appoint a cost consultant. We clearly go through the cost factor, and we define and say that okay, the budget is taken and budget is approved. Now everyone agree to the budget, everyone agree to the timeline, and it's a kind of a hand twist. We do unless until you agree for this timeline and this cost, I'm not going to give you the project. Fine, okay. Now what is the thinking of a contractor or a person who is going to associate? Let me take the project. I'll find a loophole. Then I'll see that how we can twist the hand in the other side. Now, this is going to have an effect. And so we know that we are worried about the quality and the people. So we appoint a separate another set of people to ensure that the quality and EHS is followed. Now, starting of a project, it looked good, but as the project progressed, now since you appointed different people for ensuring different objectives, now there is going to be a conflict in the system. This is where you can see that the quality stops the progress. The progress is getting affected by the quality, and you will have a cost incurred when you're trying to do a good quality work or a speeding of the work. So finally you will be asked, or your people will be asked to choose between either one or two from these three, and that's going to be the situation. And that's why many of us are saying we cannot do all the three. Can I finish the finish on time, project on time, but please don't ask me about quality. So finally you have to close your eyes and give a clearance for such kind of a situation. How many of the project we have seen towards the end of it, they're not worried about the quality, they're not worried about the safety, they just bring as much as people and try to dump into the site and try to get the work done, and no one is worried about the cost at that point of time. So what in reality we need to do is, in the starting of a project, instead of looking at the time, cost, and quality, look at a different paradigm. Think about the value what we are delivering in a project. Establish the value stream so that you ensure that the flow of information, material, and work is happening in a smoother way in your project. What we are doing ultimately, we are doing transforming the input to the output and outcome. So when you focus at the time, cost, and quality, you are more doing a transactional activities, whereas when you look at a value and flow, you are transforming the things. You are not letting any input which is available on the site to go waste. You have seen the designs are approved, the approvals are taken by the contractor, the material is available, but still work is not happening because the work is not ready, the work front is not available, the previous work is not completed. So even though you do the transactional things, the outcome or output is not visible in the project. That become a frustrating for many. And by focusing on value, flow, and transforming, you can really achieve the time, cost, and the quality in a project. So all these things will be happening when you bring a collaboration into the system. So look at and remember these points. The time you are or focusing on time, cost, and quality, there is a whole chances that you will lose control on it. Whereas you focus on collaboration, ensure that you are having a good understanding, a good team. They focus on value, flow, and transform. And ultimately, you will going to see that this is going to get converted as a project which you are completing within or early in the time, within or lesser in the cost, and much better quality than what you expected or what you really want to achieve in the project. How to implement the lean construction? Now, this is not that easy like any other implementation process. Or you can say that you can take a clue from this and you can apply this in any management implementation. Is not easy in a construction industry, because the construction industry people, we are trained and living in a situation, we don't believe in theory, we just do things in the project as we feel, because we feel like there are a lot of uncertainties are there in the construction project. Even though these uncertainties are created by our own people, we only created all these things. Okay, let us look at how do I implement these practices in a construction project. To give you a quick heads up, Construsk in a 6 years in the service, I have almost 8 years of implementing lean practices. And this is a strategy and methodology which I'm sharing, which is evolved over a period of time. So as far as the strategy is concerned, in a very high level, I go with a 3-point implementation strategy. And the first one is to do a pilot. Then once you do a pilot, the success and failures are analyzed, and we reshape the process and the methodology, and we again validate that in another couple of projects, because we need to test the successes in a different environment. We need to see the failures to see that how we can convert that into the successes, and before we go for institutionalization. So again, we follow two different approach for the mega projects and for an organization based approach where they does a multiple project. So you can go for, if it is a smaller project you does and you are handling an organization focus here, what you can do is you implement in a pilot project within a 2 to 3 months time, take the lessons and learnings and continue in the same project, as well as apply in a similar project in a different geography or a different client or in a different contractor, and to validate whatever your understanding is correct. And then you go for a organization level implement, saying that all the project in the future which we are going to implement this lean practices. Whereas if it is a mega project like a airport or in a kind of any larger project, you want to get it implemented from the client side through a project specific loop, then what we again recommend is to, you will have a mega project, you will have some minor projects and smaller project within that. Take a project and do the piloting, take the lessons, put that lessons into a validation area. Validation is very important here, because this is one of the failure point for many organizations. They try to implement lean. Some fail if they're trying to do it by themselves. Some succeed if they try to get it done through the consultants. But what will happen is the success, the people take it to their head and say that, hey, I can do. The failure, they take it to the heart and say that, hey, I'm not able to do it. This is not my cup of tea. But both are wrong. The success and the failure need to be really analyzed and put it to a testing, to a validation, and see that how it can be make further success and continuing success, and then we can go for an implementation. So the best model which I've seen, I've done a several model. I've deployed a full-time person into the project too. We have done it on a very short engagement. The successful model which I've developed is within the name called as a 10-70-20. So when we focus, you really want to implement lean into your project, you have to develop the skill of a people. You have to make the people to understand about what is lean thinking and what is lean mindset. But more than on a theoretical or in a classroom, in the project, through the activities and through the project sequence, we have to get it done. So let the skill of the people get developed within the project by practicing. We'll talk about a last planner system. We'll talk about a make ready. But unless until you do your make ready meeting and you are not doing a full planning by involving all the stakeholders, you are saying I'm implementing lean, but I'm sitting in my office, my planner and myself are sitting and creating a plan and calling it as a full planning. It is not going to be that. So we have to develop the skill of the people on the project, and they require a lot of hand holding to do it. Now, what is important? Yes, they definitely have to understand the theoretical aspect of it also. We need to educate them, we need to train them, but not to the whole theory and the whole concept. Even a 10 to 15% of what the theory says, you convey and teach your people. But remember here, you need to educate everyone in your organization and in your project. That's why, we are saying don't spend 5 days, 6 days, or, the kind of spending them for in a classroom for hours and hours. Before they do the work, even for a 10 minutes, it's like a pep talk which we give it in the starting of a day. So every pilot engagement, every validation work which we do, every institutionalization, every tools which you are deploying, every work which we do that 5 minutes, 10 minutes talk on the theory, concepts, and basic of lean concepts. So the education need to be very project specific, very directly can be utilized by the people. Then leave the people for developing the skill on a project, and with a hand holding, that will ensure that the lean implementation can be successfully handled in your project as well. Now, what we does is, as I mentioned very clearly, we really need to focus on the people. The success of lean implementation is directly related to the people. So unless until people are developed, we are not in a position to implement lean and reap the benefit of lean, because it's more practiced by the people. Even though there is an organization process and the project structure, everything is there, more or less it is going to get practiced by the people. So it's very important for us to have a strategy followed by an action item on how to develop the management skill of a people. So we focus on a three-level training system for developing the people. The first one, the lowest level, is giving a deeper educational and theoretical conceptual understanding and make an awareness on people what is lean and how it is beneficial and everything. Now, as I mentioned in the previous slide, you don't need to bring the people for 10 days or 20 days. I mentioned, I'm practicing the lean for almost 8 years and still I'm learning. So if someone is saying, okay, let me put all my people into the training and then I'm going to start implementing the lean, that is not practical, that is not required, and it is going to fail at all. So what we need to do is the second level, which is a practitioner level training. This training can be done on the project. Like I've mentioned earlier, this is what exactly required for an organization. So if any organization, they want to really start implementing the lean, they can directly jump into the practitioner, and to ensure that all the people are trained in a project, developing their skill, and ultimately, the project is getting benefited and the people are getting benefited. How to do this? So what we usually do in a project specific engagement, we develop a project specific learning and implementation model. Now, this model is going to be different for different organizations. There may be some lean champions in this program and also someone who really want to implement lean. Take the clue from this. You have to define and develop your own model suitable for the organization and the project. So what we does normally, I can share my experience which will be useful for you. What we does normally is we understand the gap. So now the gap means there is a problem which you are facing, which you want to overcome. So unless until you realize that there is a gap of, okay, I'm making a plan, but the plan is not happening. I'm creating a budget, but the budget is never been met. So you have a gap in terms of execution need to be realized, or it can be an opportunity. You are saying that, okay, I'm completing the project on time now as of now, but I'm struggling a lot. A lot of my profit is getting bleeded towards end of a project. I want to improve that. How to ensure that, how I can ensure a consistency in my performance. Some project I'm able to do it good, some project I'm not able to do it good. So this is a gap which you identified. Now you need to tailor and see that how the performance matrices can be evolved, and there's a strategic session need to have a buy-in need to be getted from the senior management. Now it comes the project specific training and handholding. Now the project specific training, you reduce it into a 10%, but 90% you focus on handholding and mentoring the people. It is very important for us to give that confidence on the people. And even as I mentioned in the previous slide, the pilot, which is, we can do it in a 1 month or 2 months time, we have seen several better result in this kind of a practical implementation. We have completed 90% of a procurement for one of the interior project in 10 days time. And we could able to complete a 90 days project in 81 days. That means a 10% saving. And we could able to stop the delay. There was a project which was kind of a bleeding every week, 2 days. We could able to stop bleeding that project in 2 months time. We could able to double the performance. That means the monthly target which we keep for each team and how much they achieve, we could able to double it by maintaining the same resources and people and equipment in the project. So all this, how it has happened is, as I mentioned earlier, when we look at a flow, we are ensuring that the information, the design, and the workfront, everything is available. By balancing the productivity and the performance of a project, we could able to achieve it. Now, coming back to this lean construction for a project professionals, as I mentioned, the basic is very important. You need to have an important, a common understanding on the concepts. Then I said the practitioner. Now in the practitioner, you could see that the education part can cover a bit of basics. Now I'll cover the basics in the detail, more details about what are the basics need to be done, covered in a project in the next slide. But before that, let me tell you about how you can make a champion in your organization. The champions can be organized or developed in your organization by your own method, or you can go for a certified CM Lean program, which is offered by AGC. So AGC is offering a 35 hours of Lean Construction Education program. And by sending your people, your selective people to attend this particular trainings and then getting certified by the AGC will make them a clear position in the organization and the project to take the lead on it. But remember, it is not going to be happen in the reverse direction. You create only the champions and you don't have a practitioners in the project. It is going to be a struggle, because what I've seen is when an in-house resources, they try to implement lean, what we can see is there's a kind of resistance from the everyone, because we never spend our time in educating everyone. We spend our time in educating only one person or a two person by either sending them to either a champions program or a basic program. But we never spend time to ensure that everyone in the project understand the concepts, even if it is only 10%, but same page, same fact for everyone. So look at all the three options and take a right decision for your organization. The CM Lean training program, the closest to what we have is in the Qatar. LCA Qatar is offering the CM Lean training programs, and those are interested can either contact me or reach out to the website or a social media and explore it. But remember, the focus for an organization should be on the level 2. The level 1 is going to give you a foundation. That foundation can be brought in by in a slow and steady manner when you implement in the practitioner level as well. So take a right decision and move forward. Let me quickly take you to the foundation which I've mentioned, that the basic of lean, what are the things need to be understood and how need to be explained to the people, etc. Now, look at the lean. I just put it a kind of in a honeycomb structure here. Look at in the green, you can see that the lean, which I've mentioned, what are the lean consist of, which have the concepts and principles. Part of it I've mentioned, the lean thinking, the lean mindset and everything. Then applying that, there are a lot of tools and techniques are evolved. The last planner system, the target value design, the value stream mapping. So these all are the application. So unless until you develop that mindset and thinking, you are trying to only implement the tools, the people will not really appreciate, understand, and if everyone is not understand, then definitely it is not going to happen. So the current silos of the concept is taken owned by the owner, and the designers, consultants are taking care of the design. The procurement is by the supply chain experts, and the contractor is only responsible for execution. All this thinking are not going to be applicable or valid in a construction. All are part of the system. And these tools and techniques are also interconnected and ensuring that all the peoples can be put together. We can give a platform for them to come together and work together. Now, another two aspect of lean is the analytical and problem solving. So this is very important, not like any other tool. The success of the lean is improving the analytical capability of people. We are making them to analyze and understand what is happening, what is not happening. Like I mentioned a word earlier called a variation. That means a fluctuation in demand or in delivery. So unless until people start analyzing and understanding and connecting to the root causes, they are not able to see the difference between what is happening today and how they can improve it. So the problem solving capabilities and analytical capabilities of the people are going to be increased by this the lean basics and fundamental. So it is very important, even though I mentioned you need to directly start with a practitioner level 2, you also need to spend a quite good time to educate them and to make awareness about all the lean tools and techniques. Starting with the Kaizen and the Kanban, they should understand the continuous improvement. They should understand the information transparency. They should also understand the collaboration, the how we can do work without making any error, how to prevent error. Today, what we do, we create a drawing, we pass it, and if any error, let the person who does the work need to be identified and raise it as an RFI. How we do a work, we try to do for example, a block work. You do a block work, no one is checking whether it is any error or any problem. We just pass it to the next person. If it is a problem, then they will come back, or you spend more quantum of plastering to cover it. So what the system, what we are doing today, the thinking what we are making is, You need to perform, you need to complete the work. Whether it's completed correct and adding value to the next person is not there. So we have to make a habit of people to make it ready. We have to make a habit of people to go to the site and then explore it and do a Gamba walk and then see the problems and solve it. We have to make them to realize it's not a last minute rush, but last responsible moment is more important. What we do, either we delay the decision or we take very early decision. Both are not good. We have to start early, explore everything, make it ready, take the decision in the right time, the last responsible moment, which is very important here. So these are some of the terms, this is not the whole term which I'm saying. There are some of the terms which very commonly available in lean tools. And unless until you start understanding along with the concepts and principles, you really won't be able to practice the lean, and you will not be able to convince everyone to practice lean. Now, there are several tools. Usually we start with a workplace organization like a 5+1, or understanding what is the inefficiency in terms of time and effort, which is a 7+1 waste. We do the first run studies. The value stream mapping is very important tool to see that how the current process can be analyzed, what are the non-value adding in it, and how to see that the future process can be improved. This is where I was saying the procurement, which was happening for almost 45 days, we could able to cut down to 10 days time. And there are examples of drawings were taking 45 to 50 days for an approval. We could able to bring down to 10 to 15 days by doing a value stream mapping along with the people and implementing. There are various other things like a plan, do, check, act, work structuring, choose by advantage, the A3, set-based design, and pull planning. Pull planning is very important. This is part of last planner system, where today how the schedules are prepared. The schedules are prepared by the people, either a manager or a client or the planner. They sit and say that, hey, this is what need to be done. They assume and then try to create a schedule and release to designer, procurement, and execution people. Whereas the different trade will have a different challenges. Then they try to struggle through in the execution. Whereas the pull planning, all the stakeholders in the starting of a project coming together and talking about what I need to get and what I can give it, what is the dependency and how it has been sequenced. So a kind of a value stream can be defined, well clearly established if you do a proper pull planning in the starting of a project itself. Not to limiting that, there are a lot of analytical tools are also being used, which are commonly available in quality circle and the other area as well. But some are very specific to lean construction, like a constraint analysis. What we does today, we plan, we agree, we go out, then we realize what is preventing us to do the work. So we come back in a next meeting with an excuse. So the constraint analysis, when we do the look ahead planning, is again bringing all the people together and do a constraint analysis. What are the common complaints which people are saying for not completing the work can be put together, and then see that how it can be resolved, how it can be make ready and move forward. So if you ask me to consolidate all the lean tools and techniques, what I've mentioned so far in three words or three tools, I can say that it is a last planner system, the target value design, and the lean project delivery system. So the last planner system will give you a complete planning, a collaborative based, a commitment oriented planning system from the starting of a project to the end. It can be applied specific to execution, can be involved in a design, but usually I recommend is to apply the last planner system in the entire project. So this really will help you to have a greater control on how the macros and micros of the project can be controlled, because the master planning or the pull planning, which is talking about the milestones and the macro aspect of a project, whereas the weekly planning and the daily monitoring is talking about the micro planning of the project. So even a day-to-day work, whether it is happening, not happening, if not happening, why it is not happening, what are the things required to do it, everything can be synchronized. A connected conversation need to be established by implementing the last planner system. Now, the last planner system, when they take care of the execution aspect of it, the target value design gives you a more upper hand on having a better control on design and cost in the very early stage. Today, what we does the design, and then the design is thrown to the cost consultant for checking its budget related information. They come back and tell you, hey, there's a cost is up, then the design has to cut short. Or the design is gone and then reach out to the execution, then only they realize this is not practical, not constructible, additional cost is going to come. Again, the design have to come back and go for a rework. Whereas the target value design is working together and bringing people together and ensuring that the cost aspect and the execution aspects are taken care in the early stages of a design itself. And all these things are connected, need to happen through a connection between the concepts to design to supply to procuring or assembly to execution and then use it. So the lean project delivery system integrating all this aspect. Now, again, if you ask me to put everything, what we are talking, how it can be implemented successfully in a project in one sentence or in a one word, I can call it as an integrated project delivery. So the integrated project delivery, it's not completely lean what we are talking by when I'm saying integrated project delivery, but the operating system for the success of integrated project delivery should be the lean construction. The fundamental, the lean thinking and the lean mindset should be your agreement, the foundation of your agreement, and all the parties coming early and doing it. So someone again are more interested about the integrated project delivery. There are several articles and information which are available in the market. Recently, we had a conference in LCA Qatar about the integrated project delivery. This is a really upcoming information, upcoming concepts for the Asian and Middle East market, but it's really going to help. But to start with, yes, let us start implementing the lean concepts at least. Now, when we try to implement the lean concepts, I usually come across a lot of hurdles and challenges. And the people usually say the three reasons for failure, three major reasons for failure of implementing or practicing lean. They come back and saying that the people are not willing to change. The work culture, what we follow, it is not allowing us to do the work. The contract what we are having, what we have in the industry today, which is not helping us to do the work. That exactly which are replicated or shown in the phases of the construction as we define today. What we does a construction project, we just say that okay, we have phases. We have a design phase, procurement phase, construction phase, and a commissioning phase. And the points which I've mentioned or highlighted in the yellow, these are kind of gray area. Till now, some people are following, some are not following. But I'm glad at least the people started realizing it. Now, but this is not sufficient. You look at the design and engineering, which is disconnected from the assembly and construction. When I'm saying assembly and construction, there are a lot of modular and prefabrication works are happening today. And earlier, it was not there at all. Now you look at a lot of these assembly things are happening, but the people are still challenging, saying that they're not confident. If I prepare a pod, if I prepare an element outside and bringing to the site, can I fit into it? So there is a disconnect which is happening. What we need to do to overcome this is to think in a slightly different, the work structuring thinking, how to ensure that or how to see that we can bring the design, the procurement, and the execution aspects to come together or put it together. Today, the wall which we created in between the design and procurement, the design is done, then we give to procurement, they go and search for it, then talk about the under budget, over budget. Now what will happen is we creating a separate silos, we creating a separate target. So efficiencies are measured only at the phase level or in a department level. Now you remember the metrics which I shown, you try to achieve the efficiency of the resources or a department, your flow is not happening. So all the gap what you have seen in the first diagram, the blue diagram, these gaps are really creating. So you have to do a phase gate and check and everything, but still it is not giving you a comfort. Whereas lean gives an opportunity for us to the people to come in a collaborate in the early stage. So the collaboration of the design, procurement, supply chain in the early stage, that gives a good understanding. People are defining the value in the early stage. People are talking about how the value can be streamed. Now, for example, you want to install a transformer, you need to starting from the client requirement and what is the expectation and what this transformer is supposed to do for the thing. The transformer need an input from the end customer, what they're going to purchase and their area, their utilization, their the usage. And also it required the work of a structural engineer. Also it required the support of a supply chain. Now you segregate it and giving a different people to work on a different thing. It is going to take a long time and a lot of effort for someone to stand there and get the run to ensure that one information is passing from another and ever. So we have to do a system which will bring a people closer. which will incorporate the culture of lean, the thinking of lean, rather than we making separating the phases and then making everyone to work on targeting something and they create a trouble for other one to do it. So integrating these organizations together. Today we are working on an individual organization and we look at the profitability of individual organization. We never look at a project. We creating a silo of organization working with their vested interest. Like I mentioned earlier, they join your project by saying that, okay, the lowest cost, but once they are inside, they look at to try to make a money of it. So that is the reason why the people in the organization, in the construction today, they don't trust each other. There's a lack of trust between the client and the contractor, because the client knows that we squeeze them at the time of negotiation and bring into the project. Now he will do everything possible for him to make money in this project. Now I have to appoint another guy to supervise him and to another guy to supervise another guy. Whereas now again looking at the item wise the cost reduction, because I've engaged the electrical contractor separately. Now I look at the electrical product, how to reduce the cost of a transformer. But we don't realize the cost of a transformer reduction is going to have an effect on another machinery usage. In future, we cannot go for an expansion. You are reducing the cost on a curtain glazing in a building. That is going to have an impact on your air conditioning system. It will have an impact on your lighting system. Now, all this will have, it will realize the people have knowledge, you hired the best people, but what we are not doing is we are not allowing them to talk. We are not allowing them to talk in the early stages. So if you really want to understand more about what are the hurdles which are preventing you to implement this kind of management practices and how we overcome in the project where we implement, please go to the Construsk website and there's an FAQ area. So I've detailed all the hurdles and what are the strategies and how we place it to overcome this very detailed in that particular area. Now that comes to the end of this 1 hour session. I know it is a very high level. It is a short session. I hope I've done justice to it. And just to conclude saying the thing which I've mentioned earlier, you have any productivity, performance or a profitability problem, you don't need to compromise one for the other. We can achieve all the three together. So reach out to us and to know that what are the ways and solution and strategies to do it. Or if you're a person who is looking at the level 1 and level 3, like the very basic training or the advanced training on a CMLean, still you can reach out. We will help organization and individuals to do whatever you require to gain and to do good things for the industry and reap the benefit of lean construction in your project. So with that, I'm concluding this talk. We will use some time for question and answers. Meanwhile, I request everyone to, you may be seeing the QR code. Please scan the QR code and I request your feedback, and you have any questions, please feel free to share with me. Your feedback will really help me to design a much effective session for next time. So anyone have any questions now, please raise your hand and I can unmute you for asking the questions. And we will spend another 10-15 minutes to answer your queries if anyone have any questions. You can raise your hand and I can unmute you to speak. Professor Vijay? Okay, can you unmute yourself? I've given a Professor Vijay, can you unmute? There is a button in your system which can be used for unmuting. I've given a permission to unmute. Professor Vijay. Professor? Okay, seems to be some problem. Anyone else? Professor Vijay, you can, again I repeat, you can unmute by clicking that mic button. there is a mic button there. You can click on that and you can unmute yourself. Okay, anyone else? I think there's some technical. Yeah, Manigandan, I'll unmute you 1 second. Yes, Manigandan, you can unmute yourself.
Hello, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, Manigandan, yes.
Yeah. Mr. Tony, thank you so much for the webinar.
Thank
as you
you.
said, this is we need to have some basic knowledge on the lean construction. So that we got it, I hope so. We are just, I'm in just level 1. So I need to get more acquaintance on this. So I will, I'll contact you in person through mails and other things. Thank you so much. It was very good.
All the best. All the best. Thank you, Manigandan. Yes, Syed. You can unmute, Syed.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, sir, for such a nice webinar.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you very much for this attending.
Okay, sir. Sir, it is my first webinar on lean. So I have just basic idea. Sir, I am working as a QA/QC engineer. So can you tell me how can I get benefited by this lean concept and theory? Because I didn't know much about this.
Okay, see any function or any department in a construction project, they are the victims of current system. And I'm saying a victim, you might have seen in a quality assurance and quality control, the people have a thinking, okay, it is not my job. They does the job and they move forward. Okay, any problem you give me in the punch list or in a snag list. It's not my job to look into the details. Now there is a one project which we were helping. The organization were having around 3,000 more than snags when they complete a project. You know how the depth of it. Now, when we look at this kind of a problem, we can come down and say that 5 or 6 problems are really creating. 5 or 6 issues are repeating in nature. Now, why that information, the particular things are getting repeated? Because the design is not in order as required by the execution. There's a procurement challenges. So most of the quality problems what we look at today is directly related to the planning, the procurement, the design and the execution and the interdependency between the trades. Now we spend more time in struggling, and when we start doing the work, we don't have time for everything. So the objective of lean is to ensure that the people make it ready and they'll have a reasonable good time to do the work, which will directly improve the quality performance of the project itself. So the quality QA and QC work will be much more effective, even for that matter safety also. When we applied in the projects where even though the primary focus was on putting the project on schedule and control and everything, the secondary result what we got is an excellent quality and very good safety. So to answer you, implementing lean, it's not going to help only one person, one organization or one department. It is going to get an improvement. That's what I'm saying. If someone having a performance, productivity and profitability problem, you cannot handle it one by one or in a separate. You apply the lean, everything can be resolved together. Did I answer you, Syed?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, Ravindran, you can talk. Ravindran, I unmuted you.
Hi, Mr. Tony. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, yeah. Ravindran, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the wonderful information knowledge sharing session. I have a question on your lean construction project professionals, LCC.
Yeah.
You have mentioned 3 levels: basic, practitioner, champion.
Yes.
So I have 2 questions regarding this. Question number 1 is, for example, if a person is having 10 to 15 years experience in project management, should he still go through the basic, or he can go to the practitioner level and champion level directly?
Yeah. I will. Okay. Can you ask your second question also? Maybe it is related. I can try to put together.
Second question is how after you get this certification, and in general, I want to know, is there the industry taking professionals as lean certified professionals in the job line, the job field for a contract basis, or is there a job role defined?
Yeah. So I'll start with the second question. The country Qatar, if you see today, the government, the public work department, the Ashghal and several organizations in Qatar region, they started recognizing the lean construction. They incorporated lean into their tenders and in their project methodology, and they required to appoint, the contractors required to appoint lean certified people for their work, etc. So the countries, they are progressively thinking, they started working towards it, and the Western countries were following it for quite a long time. And you will also see that in India, there are several organizations, they applied lean and they find it beneficial. So those are having certification, they definitely will benefit. The younger generation, they have an opportunity to learn the lean construction in their colleges, in their higher education classes like IITs and NICMAR are offering lean construction. But those who are having a 10 to 15 years of experience, as you mentioned, they will be benefited if they go for some kind of a lean training. So to answer the first question, should they directly get into which level? See, nothing wrong. You can directly go to the level 3 and saying that you want to become a champions program. You join that LCEP and then appear for an exam and then get it certified. So you as an individual get a knowledge and that is certified by someone. Or you can join sometimes, as I mentioned, the basic program. Sometimes we announced 1-day program, 2-day programs, or some other several organizations may be offering such kind of a program. They can attend or they can arrange a corporate level training for the level 1 program. Now, this is all good for individual. So someone having money and time, they want to go for a champion certification, go for it. Someone want to learn it and understand, they go for the basic level 1 program. But the level 2 program, the difference is this is more of a project specific program. So the project specific program is there, the concept or the focus is not on the theory. We will more focus on a practical. So as I've mentioned earlier, the 90% is focused on hand holding and the skill development of a people and 10% of on a theory. So the basics, you know, of the same, the lean basic is lean basic only. So that only will be explained in the or trained in the lean practitioner. But the difference is you got a 10 contractor, you got 100 professionals working in a project. Everyone's skill is going to get developed in the same time. Now you see the effect on a project rather than one person only learn. So it need to be a kind of a pyramid. You need to have someone in the champion. Yes. So we have to have a strategy to apply it in the organization. Did I answer, Ravindran?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, yeah. Thanks, Ravi.
May I also ask one more question?
Sure.
From your experience, have you seen any big organizations in India implementing lean or going towards it?
Yes. Several organizations. Those are interested. Again, you know, you can go and visit the website ilce.in, Institute for Lean Construction Excellence, which is a non-profit company operated in India. It is started by Shapoorji, L&T, Godrej, and IIT Madras, and several organizations like a Tata and all. So you can see that the member organization companies, they started implementing these practices. And not only these ILC members, I could see that several other, we ourselves have trained more than 25 organizations, and we helped several organizations to get these lean practices implemented in the country itself. So the lean is emerged, and even a document which is released by Government of India, KPMG and PMI, I think last year, which is called a revamping project management, got a reference of lean construction, how this lean construction will increase the collaboration and how it can be integrated to the current project management methodology, and everything are detailed. So the number of studies, the number of researchers and number of implementation happening in the India is also getting increased. But I'll see a more traction at this moment is from the Middle East because of the government acceptance in that country. There's a kind of a good initiative, and a lot of tractions are happening there as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome, David. Yeah, Manikandan, you can talk. Manikandan, you can unmute. Manikandan?
Can you hear me? Yeah, you can hear me?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes.
So actually, what is the difference? Actually, see, PMP is also project management professional, and a difference between PMP and Lean.
See, the PMP. See, I have both. Okay, the PMP, which is more talking about the macro level of managing the project, and another aspect in the PMP is which is industry neutral. How a project need to be handled. It can be, a project delivery, the macro level, how the stakeholders are analyzed, how controlled, and how your scope management is controlled. So it's a larger macro level of project. But where the project management stops, the real productivity planning, or the micro level managing and connecting details are starting. So what will happen is you plan till a month or a week and then leave the rest to the people, those who are executing the work, to handle it. That's where the struggle comes. The lean construction is integrating everything. The lean construction is ensuring that the person who really does the job is also part of the planning system. It's called as the last planner. The last planner system, the name comes from the person who really finally delegate the work, like a supervisor or a site engineer. He is also getting involved in the system. Their voices are heard, and the people are coming in the early stages together, and they are doing it. So the concept wise, both having its own differences, but there are some areas which are merging, which are common as well.
Okay. So, but there are so much practical difficulties in achieving this. Even though, so for example, any Lean certified person is in a project, but I feel practically, since I'm in a project like airport, how far it will reach the last level of the bottom line. That's
this is where the strategy is very important. See, the Lean Champion program is a 35 hours program. You want to train the 1,000 people for a 35 hours is not going to happen. Whereas you strategize and see that, okay, your problem area today is the work what you plan for a week is not happening on daily. Okay. Now, this is only a very, very lowest part of the problem statement, which you can easily analyze, and then we can make a good education of all this thing in a matter of time. So this is where I mentioned you pilot. You take in an airport, you may have a particular one small runway, or it can be a small structure which is coming there. So take that where some 100 or 200 workers are there, some 20 engineers are working, some 4 or 5 contractors are there, which is quite easy for you to create a controlled environment, educate them faster in a daytime. When I'm saying a gap analysis in a project, I won't take more than a day to do a gap analysis. Okay, so it's not, we analyze the entire project for 4 to 5 months and give a report kind of stuff. It can happen.
We are using project planning software, right? Like Primavera, P6 and all. So even in Primavera, we are doing that micro level planning, I feel. My only query is we are into a 950 crore project airport, and there are so much of activities involved. Like we need to break up.
No problem. I'll tell you one example. There is a project which I was doing in Middle East, which is having 7,500 line items. Okay. Now, when we slice and dice, it was kind of only 250 activities they put into the system by copy pasting in a several locations. Now, even if it is a whatever crore project, you take end of the day, every rupee work have to be happening in a project, right? So you take that particular area. So it's about you handle that specific area, show the result, then validate it and make a larger area, then go for the entire project. This is where I say you try to do it in a complete airport project, you are going to fail. Absolutely, you are going to fail. Your worry is correct. But whereas a right strategy to get it implemented will really help you to handle the situation. And don't worry about the Primavera or the hugeness of it, because where the planning system, current planning system ends, that's where the lean works. Now you create a daily monitoring in the system, only 1 or 2 people sitting, you are not getting involved in the real working. The collaboration may not be happening when you do it in the system. So use the Primavera. I'm not against the Primavera, but the technology comes last. The people first, then process, then technology. So if you bring the technology up front without educating the people and without refining the process, the technology is not really going to help you. It will become a hurdle for you to move forward.
Exactly. Fine. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, okay, Manikandan. Yes, Vishal, you have some question. You can unmute.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. Am I audible?
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Sir, first of all, thank you so much for a very insightful session. I am an architect and this is completely new to me and I understood the concept in a very high level. And I do agree that this lean concept is very much important in architecture and construction industry. Sir, my question to you, sir, if an organization like a real estate or an architectural developing organization, if it requires or if focusing on practicing this lean, does it involve or does it have to invest on procuring or purchasing any softwares or specially training those employees in those softwares? Does it involve any sort of investment in that way?
Absolutely not. When you start implementing lean, you don't need to invest anything on purchasing a software. Even I don't recommend you to hire a full-time person only to take care of lean. What I usually does is, number one, make the people to work with the existing system. You have some software working fair enough, you work on that, or take a paper pen and deposit it and use your wall for planning. The lean is quite familiar for visualizing and bringing transparency in information, what we require to bring the information or a transparent. So the technology sometimes prevent unless until everyone is well versed, like I mentioned to Manikandan. So the more important and the first step is to develop the people, understand them, the lean thinking, the mindset, the tools and application, and make them hands-on on the system. System in the sense, not the technology, the planning system and the project delivery system. Then the people will refine. Okay, they will find out I'm doing something which are not adding value. So can I do the value streaming? Can I reduce the activities? Can I focus on the activities what you do? It is the time you are improving your process. So the people first, then process, then comes technology. So till that time, we can hold on technology. But it doesn't stop you if you already have a technology. But to answer your question, if someone want to implement new, you don't need to invest anything other than to ensure that the people are understanding it and practicing it. So it is a very minor investment which will happen in the project training.
Yes,
did I answer you, Usha?
Yes, sir. The main reason why I asked you this question is, sir, predominantly most of the organizations or the architectural organizations in which I had worked before, what I personally feel is initially they show a design, they show a concept, they get it approved from the client, but in the end, it doesn't actually look exactly like how it was designed earlier. So there is a lot of rework, there is a lot of revisions involved, and there's a lot of waste of time and resources. So that is why I asked you, is there any way to cut down these things?
Yes, yes. Here I am saying the BIM will be useful. Okay. No, but again, the BIM will be useful. But if you are using in a BIM or in a kind of any 3D architecture model, but if you don't understand the importance of bringing the end customer to the first, or follow the lean concept of a 3P, there is something called a design 3P, or the target value design, or a choose by advantage before taking discussion, or A3 reporting and everything. So if you don't understand everything, you have a system, you do everything on a system, you still will have the problem. So the problem can be resolved, the designer understanding to talk to the contractor, talk to the end customer, talk to the client, talk to the supply system, and having an understanding and how to put the information useful for the other person. So the process, if it is defined, the technology will do the better work. But to answer you, to answer you, yes, it will be useful if you apply or use a building information system and any technology which is having a 3D architecture in that.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, Ravi.
Yeah, I have a question regarding the training levels you have mentioned. So
sure,
what is the duration, or can you elaborate about the basic and practitioner? How long will it take to do this course? How the model of offering?
Yeah, sure, Ravi. Sure, Ravi. See, the AGC LCEP, Lean Construction Education Program, designed for 7 units, it's take almost 8 half days. We can say that around 35 hours. You want to have any basic level training, the very quick overview of lean construction and the last planner systems and everything, it can be done in a 1 day time. Now, so to answer you, it can be any time between 1 day to 5 days. So we have done a 2 days program, we have done 3 days program based on an organizational request. But usually the public program, what we does is mostly it's a 1 day program. One-day program. Why one-day program is the people really need to start fresh understanding what is the 7 waste and what is the lean fundamentals in detail. They need to understand the value stream mapping and they need to understand the last planner system. So these 3 things covered in one day usually. But the more you want to know, you can even go up to the 5 or 6 days. We have done one organization in Middle East in Qatar for one of the Ashkel contractor. We have done it for a 7 days program because they have to really more get into the problem solving, analytical, how to practically implement. So it mostly it is done through tailoring. So the standard course what we are offering is a 1 day which cover the 7 waste and last planner system introduction and the value stream mapping introduction. And for someone required a 5-day standard training, then go to the LCI Qatar for the LCP training programs. And if someone are looking for some tailored program for their organization, we can really work on it.
So is there any training program planned?
Yeah, soon. Definitely, we are going to plan some training programs. See, we need to plan it either in the month of March or April. So definitely, I will reach out to you with the information. And also, we are planning to conduct some LCP program in India because as of now, it is being offered from Qatar. So if the ILC is showing interest, then definitely we will be able to bring that to the India as well. So yes, some discussions are happening on that also. With LCI, with the ILC and everything. So if everything comes together, probably we could be able to offer it in a LCP program also from India. So till that time, you have to depend on LCA Qatar for attending the program.
Thank you.
Okay, so very good. Thanks for your time. Thanks for the interactions. I really appreciate all of your time. So to take forward, I request all of you to please send your feedback and also look forward to interact with you soon. Feel free to reach out for any questions, any queries which I didn't answer, or any more details you want to know about this, where I can either conduct in next webinar. So feel free to reach out to me. I usually don't charge for 45 to 50 minutes of interactive session with exclusively for any organization. You can reach out to me for conducting an awareness session within your organization. I usually don't charge for such kind of a shorter duration things. So feel free to reach out for a quick discussion to define your strategy or for conducting some knowledge sharing session for your people, or even to train your people on either basics or the champions program, or even to apply this lean construction concepts into your project. So looking forward to meet you all. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate your time, and I'm really happy to see that a lot of people are interested in implementing lean construction into their project. So I hope this session is really beneficial for all of you, and looking forward to meet you again soon. So thank you very much.